Review One-Shot Zanuff the Butcher, Horror Story for Busy People Part 2. Review. Usually, one-shot has a limited length, so implementing a complete plot often encounters many problems. If you push the plot too quickly, the story will lose its naturalness and logic. On the contrary, if the development of the story is too slow, the plot will be incomplete and only show a very small detail, lacking the whole picture. Zanuff the Butcher from beginning to end is presented quite completely without much rush. The exploitation of horror elements can also be considered pretty good, but the plot is quite simple so the reader can predict the direction of the story. The only absurdity of the story is perhaps, that the little girl Alice has so easily tamed a criminal, while Zanuff's obsession with quartering women has lasted for years, and has no sign to stop even after meeting Alice. Although Zanuff sympathizes with the situation of the girl, the mentality of the criminal is something that cannot be easily changed. This is scattered in the story in the details, that he feels excited at the thought of quartering the girl who was his customer, he dreams of Alice in a state of being cut into pieces, or he is tangled between guilt and pleasure in killing Alice's mother. Moreover, the fact that Zanuff can be tamed in just a short time by meeting Alice, is too unreasonable when exploiting the character's psychology. In terms of drawings, the story is created in a minimalist style. But for a story that focuses on the horror and psychological genres, Zanuff the Butcher's minimalism isn't a good choice. In addition to a few spotlight scenes, horror scenes, or the victim's horror is not strong enough to make the reader shudder in horror with Zanuff's brutality. Of course, this is still a difficult problem for authors when drawing horror comics. If Zanuff the Butcher could create more breakthroughs and focus more on the dark side, perhaps the story would have brought more emotions to the reader. Conclusion. This is a one-shot horror that is quite worth reading because usually, one-shot is often chosen for the romantic, casual, or haunting genre from the character's precarious circumstances rather than horror. With Zanuff the Butcher, I will give 7 out of 10 points for a good and reasonable plot. If you are a busy person but want to read horror stories, experience Zanuff the Butcher for yourself and let us know what you think about this one-shot.